swing back into regular programming.
Thank you. And really want to say a big thank you to Matt and Craig for writing such a terrific series. I mean, it's been a real pleasure to do. You guys have done an exceptional job. It's up there, you know, I could have received that script, and I know Andy said the same thing while we were on the show during those 7 years. We wouldn't have blinked. We'd have been like, okay, I wouldn't have gone, hey, this is a charlatan, imposter. I'd like to thank Mel too for organizing everything and making sure that this kind of kicked off. And I know that there are other people involved in the loop and post-production work, which is really fantastic. It's a real group effort. So, Mel, who's my first victim du jour?
We have somebody who has a birthday today.
Oh, yes, birthdays. There's 2 people with birthdays.
And today is Terry, and tomorrow is Susan.
Well, happy birthday to you, Terry, firstly, because it's your birthday today. And Susan, wherever you are, happy birthday for tomorrow. Do something that makes you happy, both of you. Just be kind to yourself today, and be kind to yourself every day, actually.
I had a very nice birthday dinner over at, on Tuesdays, they give 50% discount for those over 50.
Oh, fantastic. Where are you working?
I'm working at Elements Massage.
So how does that work? Massages are such intimate things.
Well, there were concerns, but we take every precaution we can.
I'm sure you do. And are you finding that there's a big demand? Are you as busy as ever?
Actually, we have been kind of busy. It's been like a roller coaster. When we first started again in May, it seemed like everybody and their cousin wanted to get a massage, of course. It can be very physically demanding.
You're not kidding. I mean, the odd occasion I might give my wife a massage. I'll be like, 25 seconds, I'm a bit tired now. I can't do it anymore. So what's Phoenix like? Because it's in the news all the time.
Well, right now it's kind of warm at 111. People are still either holed up or out and about making fools of themselves.
Yeah.
I'd love to go up to the Grand Canyon or someplace. But then again, I think by the time I get up to the Grand Canyon, the hotels might be closed.
But I went to the Grand Canyon, gosh, it must have been the year 2000. And what kind of massage do you do? Is there a particular kind? Because I know that there are different types. I know there's something called rolfing.
Well, I do not do rolfing. I wanted to, but when I was a younger therapist, it was only taught one place, and that was the Rolfing Academy up in Boulder, Colorado.
Right. And that's about being really brutal, isn't it? It's about really getting in between the bones.
That's really, really intense.
Yeah.
I do not do deep tissue anymore. I don't think I'm strong enough. At least I don't advertise myself as being a deep tissue therapist, because if somebody comes in to get a deep tissue and they don't get it, they get tissue off.
What would you say are the 3 mistakes rookies make with massage? So people at home, because they don't want to go, they don't want to go out and get a massage, but they'll do it with a husband or wife or sister or brother or whatever. What would be the things that you would say? You know what? A lot of people think it's this, but it's not. What would you tell? What advice would you give them just off the bat?
It's a strange thing, Sid. Back during the first season, they did an episode called A Man Alone, which had Odo being accused of murder.
Yeah.
And they had some kind of massage, and I remember watching it and getting so ticked off at Berman, I actually wrote him a note.
Oh.
I told him that what people don't realize is that massage can really help you feel better. It's great for stress relief.
Yeah.
It increases circulation.
Yeah.
It can help tone the muscles. It helps just about every system of the body.
Should we be concentrating on those stress knots that we all feel? We can always find them, little sort of squidgy marbles that you get inside up and down your neck or spine or shoulders. Is that the kind of thing we should be teasing out? Or should we not do that? Should we just do the whole? It should be a more holistic approach.
I wouldn't say stop doing that, because when you're trying to do those little tiny knots, you're trying to break up the connective tissue. Break
Right.
up the I describe muscles that are too tight as overcooked spaghetti.
Okay.
When muscles are, spaghetti is overcooked, it lumps and clumps together.
Yeah.
Fluff can't get through. And next thing you know, you have a big mess of black. And the blood works the same way.
Right.
So you have to break up the connective tissue in order to get the blood going better.
What would you say is the most neglected part of the body people just don't massage enough at home? Would be really useful.
Their lumbar areas and lower back, shoulders, of course. I say also feet. I'm a big fan of feet. Because everybody don't realize that when you take one step, 3 times your body weight is coming down your foot.
Yeah.
You're only talking about 26, 27 miles.
Yeah.
And since they're the farthest away from the heart, they get the least amount of circulation.
Yeah.
And so I would say the feet are really the most neglected part.
That's great to know. That's a really good piece of advice. It's funny because when we were at acting school, which is the last time I was involved in real body consciousness on a daily basis, they used to talk about the feet and how important it was to have the feet to be on the earth, because that is your connection to the planet. And you should really remember that you're where you are with your feet, kind of a mindfulness. It's great when summer comes around because you can take your shoes off and wander around outside, and then you really are kind of on terra firma, on the actual planet. Too, when you're not making other people's lives better, what do you do to make yours better?
I read a lot of fan fiction. I used to write some fan fiction.
Great.
Right now, I tend to watch quite a bit of television.
Do you watch a lot of sci-fi?
Not really.
What are you into?
tend to watch old shows.
That's great.
I like shows like that were popular when I was a kid, like Hogan's Heroes.
We're the kind of same age. I mean, I wasn't in America though, so I was in Sudan, so I had black and white TV. I loved Abbott and Costello, but I think they were a long way before me. Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
She's a pit bull.
Oh, very cool. Wow. And is she a complete lover, a slot pot?
Yeah, she woke me up this morning with her tongue in my ear.
Oh, great. Thanks. Ow, that's just, yeah. You let her on the bed?
I'm not picky. I mean, it's called furniture.
Brilliant. That's really cool. Did you like the shows in the 80s? Because the shows changed a lot in the 80s. Remember the Dukes of Hazzard and the Bionic Man and all those kind of things?
I was a big fan of the A-Team. And
absolutely.
I met Dirk Benedict quite a few times. Last time he was here in the Phoenix area, I saw him. I met Dwight once. I would love to see them at a convention together.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do they have conventions for those kind of shows?
I know Dirk and Dwight both appeared at the same conventions in the past.
Right.
And in fact, I think they appeared in one in England within the last 6 months or before.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, at least there'll be these kind of conventions, because I did one called Virtual Con the other day, which is pretty good. A lot of people were there. And I mean, the trouble is I have no connection to them. Because I don't see them. We're on a panel. I see my friends, Armin and the guys on the panel, but that's it. So I didn't get to see who was out there, which was a real shame, because the cool thing about this is we get to see each other. It's much more relaxing.
All right, we're going to go over to Michael.
How are you?
Very good indeed, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
You got your board t-shirt on.
Yep, it's a board/science t-shirt because I was teaching science the last few years. So.
Oh, and what did you stop teaching science?
I'm moving over to English and history this year.
Wow, that's like kind of treason, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a science community, really. The humanities? Who wants to do the humanities when you're a scientist? Now, was that a choice, or is that just like that's a kind of pressure move?
I kind of chose it. I've been doing 6th grade math and science for the last 4 years, and I kind of wanted something different.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. You must be incredibly well-rounded.
Yeah, I mean, I've taught, this is my 13th year, and I've kind of taught all different grades and all different subjects, so.
Yeah. Are you one of the guys preparing to get back to school?
Yeah, we're planning to open like with full-time with all the kids there in about 2 weeks.
How do you feel about that?
I go back and forth. I'm not sure how safe it would be because we're in a rural area, but the cases are steadily increasing up here. And I'm also like the teachers union president, so I'm trying to represent everybody.
Okay. So you've got a tough job on your hands.
Yeah.
And are you already preparing? Are you already going to school, figuring out how to seat everybody and going through kind of routines of how this is all going to pan out, or are you just going to switch it on and just do just school as normal?
I also had to move my classroom because I changed grade levels, so I'm trying to get all that set up at the same time as trying to figure out how to space all the desks apart, and it's a curriculum at the same time. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good luck. I think you're a hero, because I think I understand the arguments. You've got to be pragmatic about this, because a lot of people simply cannot afford to be at home looking after their children for another X months, Yet we have this problem of this virus is slightly infectious. Well, I wish you luck. I hope it works out really well. You're very young, so I'm sure you could just trip through this thing too. I think you're doing an amazing job, because I know you don't have a lot of choice, and I hope for the very best for you, especially starting a whole different subject course. So English is really interesting, because English, close to my heart, big subject that's close to my heart. It's one of the reasons I got into this business, because my English teacher was so inspiring. He was a wonderful guy called John Binfield. He was very, very firm. He was kind of frightening, actually. He taught English, and he taught me, we did A Winter's Tale in class, and he just unlocked it. And that kind of made everything, made me understand. And he also directed the first play I was in. He directed A Midsummer Night's Dream. Are you going to be that kind of English teacher? Kind of really, because drama is one of the great, for kids, it's one of the great releases. A lot of people don't want to get involved because they're a bit embarrassed in front of a crowd. But he used to make us read all in turn various lines of Shakespeare. It's astonishing how kids make sense of Shakespeare when they don't worry about it, when they just read it.
Yeah, I would love to do stuff like that, and there's opportunities to do that, like having the kids read parts and stuff. It'll kind of just depend on how much they're allowed to move around too in the class. But from the desk, we can do that too. We have novels that we've picked out, and I've done like Midsummer's Night's Dream in past classes and stuff. So
that's really cool. And I mean, Shakespeare frightens the hell out of everybody. There are plays that are so cool that you don't need to be frightened. Anything by Oscar Wilde is tremendous. Salome particularly cool, because it's one of the great vehicles for discussing sexuality. Because even when I was a kid, when I was a director, when I was in my late 19, 20, 21 age, I've always wanted to do Salome, but play Salome as a man, and play an Oscar Wilde as John the Baptist, to give everybody a sense of what I thought Oscar Wilde meant by that play, because it clearly hadn't any real biblical reference. It was not about the Bible. It was about being, this beautiful, beautiful boy, making life incredibly difficult for everybody around him. But obviously it's had to be played by a woman back then, because you weren't allowed to be homosexual. It just wasn't allowed. The plays like that unlock things for kids in ways that language just can't do it, because it's just too boring. And also because they're so old and so famous. And you go, well, how about you think of it this way? So what do you do to make yourself happy?
I've just moved into a new house, and so I've been organizing that. I set up a whole library of like all the books that I have, which I've made.
Oh, fantastic. Do you live alone?
Yeah, and my sister, she lost her job due to COVID, so she's been living in my pool house for a little while.
I thought you said she lost her dog due to COVID, and I was like, I didn't know that dogs were going down as well. But the job is really terrible. Yeah, I lost mine. That's really cool of you. Do you get together for meals and stuff, or do you, because your brother and sister, you're like, well, I'm going to do my own thing?
She stays out there most of the time, but she has a dog too, so my dog and her dog will play. And she'll come over here and we'll eat together. We'll order food or go shopping together and stuff.
That's really cool. Are you round about the same age?
I'm 5 years older.
That's still round about the same. I'm 16 years older than my brother. So I have a totally different sort of relationship with him. But what it means, what I really love, and you probably get this too, is that you have a generational group of friends if you share some of your sister's friends. Because I share some of my brother's friends. So I've got all these 35-year-olds I'm hanging out with all the time, which is so fantastic, which is really cool. And also I had a bunch of people who were sympathetic about me playing computer games back in the day. And no one played computer games because they were so uncool. God, the world changes. Yeah, now it's pretty much the biggest money spinner on the planet.
Yeah, I play several computer games too with my brother online. So we do that like at night.
What sort of games do you like?
I like Age of Empires, if you're familiar with that.
Oh yeah, I love that game. I played that game years ago. Okay. Is it still going?
Yeah, it's on Steam.
That's fantastic. And tell me if I'm not mistaken, it was one of the first sim games. You had to sort of build your boats and chop down trees and find rocks and then invade and kill everybody in a horrible way. Yeah, it's perfect. What could be happier than that? What could be more edifying?
Yeah, it's fun because I get to talk to my brother, and he lives he lives in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm up in Northern California.
I swear to goodness that if it hadn't been for the fact that there were computer games, I would have a much less valuable relationship with my son. I mean, I have a pretty wonderful relationship with Django because I was often in England and he would be in the States going to school and doing stuff. But what we did do as a treat was we'd get online and play, I think it was Battlefield back in the day, Battlefield Bad Company, which is one of the finest games ever to be made. And we just get on the thing and because Xbox is so brilliant, you can chat about whatever you want to chat about. It was just wonderful. And then he would quickly save me from some catastrophic death and shoot 15 people and go, Daddy, I just saved you. So that's really good. Okay, I'm getting a good idea. So whereabouts have you moved from and where are you moving? Where have you moved to?
I'm from the Bay Area originally, but I moved up to Reading and then got a job teaching. And then I just moved from one side of Reading to the other. Just recently. We had some big fires a couple years ago in my house.
Yeah, I remember.
In the path of that. So I didn't want to have to keep dealing with that year after year.
You're so wise. It's going to happen. If it happens once now, it's going to happen not perennially maybe, but biannually. You know, it's going to be very common phenomenon. So, are you a Star Trek fan, or did you got involved in Sid City through some other area?
Oh, I've watched Star Trek my whole life. I remember it. So I've been to 2 conventions and I've always liked Star Trek.
Oh, you're the real deal. Can you show us the equation under the
Yeah, it says if less than 1 ohm.
Oh, okay. Wow. So explain that to me.
It's just like ohm is a unit of power, and so resistance is futile if it's less than 1 ohm. So if you had 1 ohm of power, it would not be futile.
Okay, nice. Really nice. Very cool. What's your favorite area of science?
Of science? I really like the life sciences, like biology. I actually like reading about viruses and stuff. And then probably like some of the physical sciences where you actually get to build things and see if they work. Like that's really fun to do in a classroom.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Have you read The Selfish Gene? This is something I ask a lot of people who are interested in zoology. 1975, Richard Dawkins. He wrote what is a seminal book on genetics. He invented words that are now commonplace, like memes. He used those words to describe genetics. And that book is chillingly terrifying at the same time as being quite wonderful. And it talks about how everything we do, every emotion, is driven by one thing, and that is the need for genes to survive. And that creates character, it creates all sorts of different things. So that in a world where people are generally quite violent, sometimes a clever but kind person will evolve and be the most attractive person to propagate the gene.
Okay, because I like to switch back and forth between fiction and nonfiction and stuff. So,
well, that's definitely nonfiction. Michael, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. I just want to say from all of us, and for any teachers that I'm not going to be able to talk to today in the next 2 weeks, good luck. We're thinking about you, and please come back and give us an update.
I will. Thank you so much.
Yeah, please. It'll be really fascinating.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael. It was great meeting you. Okay, we're going to go to Rachel Anderson.
So where are you, Rachel?
I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, very north here, but we're still pretty hot. So it's a lot of us are wilting.
You go from one extreme to the other, don't you? You go to the bitterly, bitterly cold to the crazy heat with about 1 day spring.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. 1 day fall, 1 day spring, and just go. How do plants survive that? Do you have a huge agricultural situation?
We actually have a lot of, I don't live personally in this area, but a lot of places north of here are lots of carnivorous forests, ferns and stuff like that.
Carnivorous is absolutely right, yeah.
Long-lasting, hardy trees. So here we do have a lot of lakes. We have a lot of trees, and it's a very green city. So a lot survives. Shockingly, even in the bitter cold of winter, but it's a lot of elm trees and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. What are you working during this time?
I quit my job in October of last year to try and become a full-time writer, and still working on that. But I thought, maybe I'll try to do something part-time just because I wanted some structure to my day. And I was starting to look in March, and then everything exploded. So.
So have you been caught out financially? Is that very complicated?
Thankfully, I am married to a wonderful husband, and he actually was fully supportive of me doing the quitting my job for becoming a writer. So
What
yeah.
a good guy. That's great. That's fantastic. Yeah, because writing needs to be sponsored.
Yes, it does.
It needs sponsorship. And what's your favorite form of writing?
No, I like to do mystery murders and romance novels. I like to blend the two of them together. I have dabbled in fan fiction myself, but I'm really looking forward to doing something sci-fi sometime in the near future. So it was kind of cool to hear about this alone together. And I thank you guys both so much for doing it, because it is so inspiring and it's so fun. And it's inspired me to rewatch DS9 again and all these things. So.
Oh, fantastic. And are you writing a novel right now?
Yes, I am.
Have you just finished one?
I finished a little novella that I've sent off to a couple places, and I'm still writing my bigger novel that will involve supernatural, murder, and life in Minneapolis. So
Fantastic.
should be fun, hopefully. So
Yeah, that's really cool. How do you come up with that? How do you go, right, I'm going to kill this guy?
I mean, I've always loved mystery books. That's how I got into reading and writing, was through mystery books. It's always fun for me, mostly, and I think I go about it the way that some other writers go about it, and they mostly, that you have the main character that you go, how do I want to screw with him?
Yeah.
And what would make this the most interesting? And how would this be the most scary? And I guess also a healthy diet of watching like shows like SCI and Hannibal and all those things that just like,
Yeah.
it's the mystery.
What would you say your books are most like?
I don't know how known these authors are, but I really love and I really exemplify Jordan Costello-Price and Jordan L. Hawk. Those two are definitely two that I've taken a lot of hints from.
Yeah.
And as far as mystery is concerned and all that, the one that I constantly go back to is always Sherlock Holmes.
What do you think of the movies? The Guy Ritchie made one, I think.
Yes, those are fun too. But I'm also a Robert Downey Jr. fan too. So
Robert, you can't be. Everyone is a Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
He's like the naughty George Clooney.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
The naughty Tom Hanks.
Yes, for sure.
So, okay, great. What is your husband? Did you say what your husband did? Because I don't think you did. And if you don't want to say, you don't have to.
No, it's fine. My husband is actually an IT guy for a mortgage company. So.
Oh, brilliant. We have quite a few IT guys here, don't we?
Yeah.
You probably have noticed. I don't know if you've been around a few weeks, but my goodness, we've got there's a high percentage of really cool teachers and a high percentage of IT people. Teachers range from every kind of teacher.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And students. And lots of writers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I love that.
Leif is a wonderful man. He speaks 5 languages, roughly. So he's very smart, and he is the joy of my life.
Where does that name come from?
Scandinavian.
Got it. 5 languages. That would suggest that he didn't start in America.
He's American, but he knows Swedish, Spanish, Somali to a certain degree, and he's working on Danish now with me. I'm very slow to know languages, so it's
me too.
And he's also working on Finnish now too.
What possessed him to learn Somali?
Minneapolis actually has a huge Somali community, and he did a lot of ESL tutoring in his early days when he was still at college, and a lot of their stories just inspired him that he wanted to learn the language.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really great. Yes, he does sound like one of the smartest people. And he definitely is one of the most generous. So yeah. we know that.
I got to tell his secret that he hasn't seen the end of DS9 yet.
Ooh.
So we got to get him up to speed with that. He has seen most of it. He just never got to see the ending.
Because that's the thing. If there's someone who's got a partner who hasn't seen any of it, they should show them what we do on the play and go, this is really it. This is amazing production value, isn't it? Yeah. This is like all these special effects. Mm-hmm. Well, Rachel, it's been such a pleasure.
It has been wonderful talking to you too. Thank you so much.
And hopefully we'll see each other again.
And Rachel, when your book gets published, make sure you let us know so we can all buy a copy.
Oh yeah, I didn't say that. I meant to say that. You got to give us links to everything.
Thank you.
All right, next we're going to Jen and Paul.
How are you? Oh, yes, my Glaswegian friend.
Great to see you again, Alexander.
Great to see you too. How are you doing?
We're okay, we're boiling at the moment. Bloody roasting.
It's roasting. Did you say you were in Massachusetts?
New
York, yes, the same. So we're the same. We've got the same stuff going on. So what's different in your world since last time we talked? Because last time we talked, it was a bit bit more complicated, wasn't it?
Not much. We're still
No, it's nothing too different since last time, Alexander.
Yeah.
keeping safe.
But we're talking about the little song.
Yeah, we sent you a song. We did a parody. We called it Sid City. It's AC/DC Sin City, but we
Yes,
changed
I know
the
Sin
lyrics.
City.
Yeah, we changed the lyrics.
But fantastic. That's really
Great,
good. Thank you very much.
We just recorded it about maybe an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Well, do I have permission to play it when I get it?
Oh,
Sure.
1,000%, yes. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Well, I will play it as a fun moment. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Have you been? Oh, by the way, have you been watching? Are you a soccer fan?
I don't really follow sports very much.
But I like cricket and soccer, so I watch a lot of that. And the Premier season's just finished.
Who's your team in the UK? Who's your favourite team?
Manchester United.
Manchester United.
And I've been kind of a fan of theirs since about 2002, 2003, something like that. I was actually shooting a TV show, 24, with Kiefer Sutherland in Los Angeles around that time. So I was in the house, a friend of mine's house, and I just was watching TV, and then the Man United came on and played soccer, and I was like, wow, that's really good. And I've been following them for better and for worse most years for a long time now. It's really cool. And I watch England play cricket because I really love that. I'll talk to everybody about cricket one of these days. I'll take you through all the rules because it'll really interest you. It'll really keep you awake.
Well, you know, funnily enough, I used to play cricket, a version of cricket with my friends growing up in Glasgow.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure it was not the correct rules, but a friend of mine had the bat and the wickets. And we used a tennis ball. We didn't have the proper ball, but we used to love it. We used to love it and enjoy it.
Fantastic.
You know?
Absolutely. There's a game called French cricket you play with a tennis ball. And people's job is to try and hit you on the legs, and you've got to try and stop the ball hitting your legs. But we used to play that at school, and it's absolutely hilarious. Really good fun. It's a great game for the beach, and you can play it with a tennis racket. So you just have to try and hit people below the knee on the leg.
Oh, no,
You have to just defend your leg. And if you miss the ball and it goes past you, you can't turn around. You have to just turn the bat around and protect the back of your leg. And if you hit the ball, that means you can turn to face wherever you hit the ball. Tell me, have you done other parodies of other things? Did you have I can't remember, do you have a band?
Yes, I play in a band, Alexander.
20 years, 8 albums, 2 solo albums.
That's right. And it was because it's not you two in the band, it was just you in the band, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, we actually released today. We released an EP, and it's digital, and it's on vinyl, and it's also in CD, and it just came out today.
Fantastic! Congratulations. Could you put a link to it?
What's it called, guys?
It's Half-Life, and it's by the band is called IZZ.
Fantastic. There was a band called Marillion.
Oh my God.
Love Marillion.
He opened for Marillion. His band
Boom.
opened for Marillion.
Many years ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we did.
Well, I talked about Script for a Jester's Tear. That's one of my favourite albums. Marillion came along with Script for a Jester's Tear. It was wonderful. And I did this podcast, and you know what happened? The guitarist from Marillion got in touch with whoa, thanks, man. Big fan of Star Trek, too. It's a small world.
Oh, he has a Star Trek fan.
He was really cool.
That's amazing.
I was really sorry to hear about Peter Green.
Wow, that was very sad, yes.
One of my favourites. If anybody hasn't listened to Peter Green and the Fleetwood Mac, just grab the greatest hits. Go on Spotify, grab the greatest hits of Peter Green and Fleetwood Mac, and you'll be astonished at the songs that those guys wrote. And that's before Stevie Nicks really, Stevie Nicks was part of it, but before the Americanization of Fleetwood Mac. And it was called British Blues. And he wrote Albatross, if anyone knows that song, Albatross.
Is amazing, yes.
Wow, crazy good. So we probably have similar tastes in music, you and I.
I think we probably do. You would probably hopefully enjoy some of their music, I think, because we're kind of progressive and influenced by Marillion and Pink Floyd and King Crimson and things like that. You know,
I would love it. I would love it. What is yours? What's your musical interest? What's your interest? Because obviously that's something you both have in common, and you obviously.
We met at a jam session, a public jam. I like harder rock. I like Judas Priest. There's a new band that sounds like Led Zeppelin called Greta Van Fleet, and I really, really love them. So I tend to sing mostly male, what male singers sing, like
wow,
Judas Priest, Rolling Stones.
That's a great thing. That's because there's no reason on earth those men should be able to sing that way anyway. To be honest with you,
You'll hear my AC/DC when you finally hear the song, like really rocking out.
Yeah, that's really cool. Nice. That's really great. So what band would you recommend to everybody? What was that, entry level? I mean, Foo Fighters is probably entry level, isn't it?
Well, I love Greta Van Fleet. They're pretty new and they sound just like Led Zeppelin, but I still love them. They're terrific.
That is high praise to say they sound like Led Zeppelin. I don't understand why that's a problem, because take Shakespeare as another example. Shakespeare borrowed all of his stories from other people, and then he just did his own thing with them. Marillion sounded like early Genesis. But then they just did something else with it that made it very much their own. You know, early Genesis would never have been singing Garden Party or anything like that.
Oh, no.
So you get I love the fact that people plagiarize it, because that's actually a kind of homage to me. I mean, it's obvious when it's really poor. What you're describing is actually how music evolves. You know, you have to borrow a little bit and kick on. Well, I'm really glad we caught up again, because this time we just had a music chat, and it's not about COVID. And I really nice to find a couple of people who were on the same wavelength. And thanks for sending me the AC/DC.
We hope you enjoy it.
I'm sure I will. Love catching up with you guys.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mel.
All right, we're going to go to Deanna. She'll be our last person for tonight.
Deanna.
Hello. A little nervous now.
Well, you don't need to be. Absolutely don't need to be. Where on earth are you?
Rock Falls, Illinois.
Oh my goodness! Right. Yes. I've never been. What's that terrific painting on the wall behind you? Sorry to interrupt.
That is one of mine.
Yes, I can see it. Gosh, that's really, really astonishing.
That is one of my goddess paintings.
I would have no problem guessing that.
Yes, this is my brand new studio. It's only about 3 weeks old, and this is, I don't know if I can get it in there.
No, it's in there. That's beautiful.
Tessellation there.
Yeah.
There. You got a little bit better. Yes.
So that's really, really, really cool. And beautiful brushes. Goodness, how beautiful. I mean, brushes are beautiful by themselves. Isn't that crazy? The stuff you actually work with is beautiful.
I only found out about this about a week and a half ago.
Really? I'm always curious to know how people find out, because we don't tell anyone.
I was rewatching for like the 5th time DS9, and I was like, I wonder what he's been up to. And so I Googled, and I found out about it.
Oh, very cool. So you're a polymath. You do a ton of different stuff.
I'd have to switch the camera, but I did have a
We like
piece
show
that
and tell. We like all
turned
the show and tell.
into. I had this one printed onto fabric.
Oh yeah, that's another goddess?
Right. Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, and I did have that one turned onto fabric. So, and this is Ma'at, Goddess of Truth, and
she looks Egyptian.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yes. That is my most sacred piece.
Wow. Yes. It's absolutely beautiful.
Oh.
I said it's absolutely beautiful. You've got quite a talent.
Oh, thank you.
We have some really good artists in this social club. I mean, now you're here, you'll begin to see them, because I like to see what
I've
people
been telling everybody. I really have.
Yeah, because I see a sewing machine back there. That's why I was wondering whether you make.
Yes. I like to make costumes for Renaissance fairs, and I make costumes for family members, and they're always like, "I need this," and I'm like, "Okay, what do you need and how long?" And they'll be like, "I need this, this, and this, and I need it by next week."
Well, I've definitely seen Aladdin Sane. Someone has done that, and we've got the amazing couple in New Zealand who are doing some fantastic Star Trek comedy in Australia.
Interesting conversations you've had over the last few weeks.
I wish you'd been here, because you have missed some tremendous conversations. Every conversation has been interesting. Otherwise, I would just not be able to talk. I don't run out of steam. I never run out of I never go, well, God, this is gone. We got nothing to talk about. It's been really, really good for me. Really good to learn. I've learned some serious stuff as well as just people's interesting lives. Changing my mind about things has been fascinating. Do you live alone? Do you have a family in the house?
No, just me and 2 cats. One is a rescue. I've only had her for about 5 months, so.
Oh, she's still really kind of not sure of you.
Oh yes. And my baby Peanut, who just came in, is not all that thrilled. She's starting to warm up.
Are they outdoor or indoor cats?
Indoor.
Because Illinois gets pretty cold, but the cats can handle.
Cashew was in the crawl space in the winter, and she finally she managed to get herself out. I couldn't reach her. I actually took a saw to the wall trying to get to her, but she was between the heating duct and the main support for the trailer. All they have to do is the size of your fist, and if they can get their head through, they can get the rest of their body through.
And they're not thinking about getting back out.
I heard her crying for 5 days straight.
Yeah, I mean, Darwin would have something to say about that kind of sense.
She rescued herself. She knew where help would be found.
That's wonderful. And how are you surviving through the COVID situation?
I'm on disability. I have neurological issues, so I don't really have quite the same pressure that a lot of people do financially.
Yeah.
Going out and getting things like groceries is very hard.
Will someone go and get it for you, or do you have like a service?
It takes me 2 or 3 weeks of begging people to actually get to the store.
Oh my goodness. So how do you survive? I mean, how do you eat? You can't be spontaneous at all.
Not at all.
When you plan a shop, what do you get? Do you get like lots of pasta, lots of flour, lots of beans? I mean, how do you know? You must plan every meal.
I do. I have to stay away from certain things that have lots of carbs because of my autoimmune disease, but whole grains, a lot of things that can be frozen.
Yeah.
And I planned it out a month and a half ahead of time. And I have a neighbor who puts gallons of milk into her freezer for me.
Well, that's very kind of her.
Yeah.
That's just very difficult. And are your neighbors close geographically?
Yeah, she's right next door. So
okay.
We keep tabs on each other, make sure everybody's okay.
That's the thing. That's one of the things. I mean, it really is difficult, especially when you just can't get out. Oh, look at how beautiful you are.
This is Peanut.
I was going to guess that's Peanut because you don't look like you could get through a tiny fist-shaped hole.
No.
So what inspires you to paint those beautiful paintings?
Well, the latest one was just seeing how gorgeous my neighbor's garden was. So I've started one that's Moonlight Gardens. And it's about meditating don't knock it down, baby, while you're gardening in the moonlight.
Wow. And is that just going to be, how are you seeing that? Is it colors and vegetation?
There we go.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I see that coming along.
Really trying to get the shading so that you can see the horizon and you can recognize it. So
it's really, really good color work. There's the midnight blue to the light. It's really lovely. Well, thank you for showing us. That's really terrific. Well, one of these days I will take, because I've got a battery on my iPad, I will take the thing down and I have to do it, not put a light on somehow so you can see. And I'll show everybody the melons. I know people want to see the tomatoes, which I've been starting to eat tomatoes. We've got tomatoes, watermelons, and all sorts. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. I'm going to stop because it's the end of the evening. And I'm really glad you joined us. And you're welcome every single week.
Oh, I will be here. I caught your doctor's panel. Have you ever done Second Life?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. Yes. But it was a very controversial for a while because people were paying real money.
A couple of sims that are really detailed. And for the last 4.5 years, I've been playing an Andorian doctor.
Fantastic.
Yes, she's amazing. She's my alter ego. So,
do you have real estate in Second Life? Because I remember how hard it was. People had to pay real money to buy a house in Second Life.
You can have free accounts and then you just rent. That's what I do. And I reference a lot of the things you've done over the past 4 years. For real. And I'll tell you what, Memory Alpha and Memory Beta are so wonderful because you really get into They have that so detailed. I had no idea they actually made an Andorian language with an Andorian dictionary.
Oh, my giddy aunt. Well, keep on going. Keep on trucking.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
You'll make a lot of friends here, so get into the chat and say hi, and you'll see it's a very friendly group. You'll be welcomed with open arms.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Good night to you. I'm going to clock off.
Thank you to everybody who joined us tonight, and we'll see some of you Friday. We'll see some of you next week. Thanks for coming. Have a great day.